What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Gimme presented by Bet365. Why the Gimme? You know why? Because it's good. I'm Jason Sobel. He is making his triumphant return to the show. I guess college football season is over. Collin Wilson, what happened? Did Georgia win?
Yeah, I think Georgia won by a little bit. I was already golfing. I was trying to get some twilight hours in by the halftime. So, yeah, Georgia won the national title. We're on to 2023.
I love it. Use that Georgia money to get that Twilight tea time. I love it. We're going to be talking golf instead on this show coming up. All about the Farmers Insurance Open. Remember, guys, we're doing the show Tuesday. It's a Wednesday start. It's a Saturday finish. If you don't get your bets in, you don't get your one and done picks in, you don't get your DFS lineups in, it's not our fault. Don't blame us. We're telling you it's a Wednesday start. Okay, I've done my part. All right. Done my other part now, too. The Gimme is presented by Bet365, the world's favorite sportsbook brand. Sign up with promo code ACTION, ACTION, to get Bet365's exclusive sign-up offer in New Jersey, Colorado, and Ohio. Bet $1 on any game, you get $200. Pretty good deal. Let's take a look at the top of the Bet365 odds board this week. Collin, I know you've been out of the golf mix for a little while. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Jon Rahm, he's playing okay. He's all the way up to third in the world. That's another story for another time. But Jon Rahm, I would say, and I have said, I wrote this week in my preview, I don't believe we've had a convergence of recent form and course history like we have for Jon Rahm since maybe Tiger's prime 15 years ago. I really don't think we've seen that. Jon Rahm plus 400 at Bet365 this week. Yes, it's a short number. Yes, he deserves it. Xander Schauffele, Tony Finau. We'll be talking about each of them coming up on the show. They're both 12-1. Collin Morikawa 16-1. Justin Thomas 18-1. So is Will Zalatoris, who was last year's runner-up in a playoff, but he's putting better now, so maybe there's a little Zalatoris love. All right, Collin, as always, the bosses have given us a crisp $100, so let's start gambling with it. What else would we do with $100? Get into these portfolios. Where are you going with your favorite outrights?
Yeah, we got to gamble it immediately, but let's start the show off with a Jon Rahm outright. And listen, I blame Jon Rahm for putting us in this position because if we don't mention him on this show, we could look really bad. But if we take him, we could look square. I mean, Jon Rahm is just won the last 3 that he's been in, won 4 of the last 7, the DP World Tour, the Century Tournament of Champions, Amex. What do you want me to tell you? He's played Torrey, I think. Out of the last 7 times, he's finished 7th or better. Outside of that, just once. Listen, the number, is it short? Yes. From a value standpoint, is it there? It's questionable. Does the resume say the number should be this? Yeah, it does. And sometimes you just have to bet that and get that in your golf portfolio, or else you're going to be seeing Jon Rahm on Saturday on the back 9, and you're going to have all these other bets. And if he's not in your portfolio, you're going to feel bad about it. And the last thing I'll say about Jon Rahm is that he mentioned, I wish I was a fly on the wall during the Masters Championship dinner, with all the other live guys getting in there. I don't think he has to worry about that anymore. I think this is the year that he's going to get that jacket. He's going to be in. So I'm going to move on to you want me to do my second one, or you want to comment on?
I'll jump in real quick because first of all, I will say that usually in January, someone starts off hot and all of us in the media, we go, it's going to be a big year for so-and-so. And it's usually kind of foolish because it's the middle of January. When so-and-so is Jon Rahm, yeah, it's probably going to be a really big year. He's 2 for 2 already. I don't dislike it whatsoever. I have basically treated this week as if you need some Rahm insurance. I'll give you my first outright before you get to your second. Every single year for the last 6 years, I've bet Tony Finau at this golf course. I think the South Course at Torrey fits Tony Finau's game perfectly. I admittedly don't love the number this week. I was hoping that Rahm, being as short as he is, would push Finau down a little bit more, but he is 12-1. Look, I will be kicking myself if I bet Finau every year. He finally learns how to win, and then I don't bet him here. I will say, though, much like at the blackjack table, say you get a pair of kings, dealer showing an ace, got a big bet up there, you might want some insurance. I've never taken insurance, but I want some Jon Rahm insurance this week. So with all of my outright plays, whether it's ones I give you now, whether it's live outrights during the week, I want to get a little if I can't get an each way bet in my book, I at least want a top 5, maybe a top 10 on those players as well. It's essentially my John Rahm insurance. So I got Finau outright, 30% of my portfolio, but personally, I'll take a little insurance on that as well, just in case John Rahm goes nuts again.
Yeah, I like that. I like that strategy. I also like John Rahm top 5 minus 115. That's definitely something you can get behind. But I'm going to switch to a guy for an outright.
John Rahm top 40 minus 900. I'm just throwing it out there.
Put that in your parlay with your NFL. I'm going to switch to a guy. I don't understand the disrespect in the betting market. He is priced from a DFS standpoint the same as Taylor Montgomery and Max Homa, and he's only $500 shy in the DFS market from Justin Thomas. But for some reason, Siwoo Kim is 45-1. Explain that to me, why Taylor Montgomery's 30-1 and Max Homa's 20-1 and Siwoo is 45-1. I thought there would be a letdown at Amex. I thought you would win in Hawaii. You would come across the ocean. There would be a letdown. Nope. Tied for 22nd. What was he? He was 15th strokes gains tee to green. There was nothing wrong with Siwoo. He's still white hot. He can get electric here. He has proven it at Torrey Pines before that he likes this course. 45-1 does not match his peers. So I'm definitely taking a $5, 5% shot on that.
All right, I like that. And very easy transition from you taking Siwoo Kim, who won the Sony Open, to me going with my second outright, Hayden Buckley, who came in second to Siwoo Kim at YLI a couple weeks ago. Quite frankly, I look at Hayden Buckley and I say, okay, he's obviously in form, played really well at Sony, did not play last week. But this golf course, this venue, the 2 golf courses at Torrey Pines, should fit Buckley's game even better. I'm looking at players who drive the ball really well. Buckley, so far this year, is 3rd in strokes gained off the tee. To me, that's very important. I like the number. Liked it a little better earlier in the week. If you jumped on Buckley early, you might have got him at 130-1. Still 75-1 right now at Bet365. I'll throw 10% of my portfolio on that. All right. As I mentioned, like last week at the Amex, like next week at Pebble Beach, multiple host courses at Torrey Pines. They'll play 3 rounds, as always, on the tougher South course. They'll play 1 round either Wednesday or Thursday, each player. On the North course, which is the easier of the 2, but it's actually more difficult than it used to be. It's not the layup course that it used to be. We're expecting some windy weather for Thursday's second round. Robert Damron, former PGA Tour player, hosted my SiriusXM show with me earlier today. He had 2 top 20s in his career at Torrey Pines. He said because of the weather, he'd rather start in the better weather on the North course and just go make as many birdies as he can. And then, hey, I'm going to get beat up anyway, so give me the worst weather on the South course. Interesting perspective. I hadn't thought of it that way, but if you're playing, whether it's DFS, whether you're looking at your bets, basing it on course to course, he thinks players are going to have a little bit of an advantage starting on the North course. So let's get into these Bet365 player market bets. I love these, essentially over-unders for the final result. Collin, buy one, sell one. Who are you buying?
Oh, I'm buying Xander Schauffele, 15th or better, minus 120. This is my biggest bet of the show. 30% of my bankroll is going on him to finish 15th or better. I thought Xander was coming back a little bit too early from injury. I didn't touch him last week with the Amex. I was wrong. Number 1 in strokes gained tee to green for the entire tournament. He was white hot in round 4, shot a 62 on the stadium course. At Torrey Pines, his last 3, 2nd, 7th, and 34th. I believe in Xander here. He's fully healthy, and I think 15th or better, biggest play on the board for me.
I like that. I'm looking at the number next to Taylor Montgomery's name, who is the runaway favorite right now for the Rookie of the Year. He's got 4 top 10s on the PGA Tour this season, which leads all PGA Tour players. He's very close, about 5 strokes away from having 8 top 10s because he's at 4 other finishes inside the top 15. His number this week for the player markets at Bet365 is 27th or better. Now, on most golf courses, because he's a rookie, he has no experience. We don't know how to gauge Taylor Montgomery's game. He actually played in this one last year, and he didn't just play. He played really well, finished in 11th place. I get it. There's some trepidation here because he's doing most of his damage with the putter and not with the big clubs. And this is a course where you need the big clubs, playing about 7,700 yards this week. That said, he was 3rd on the on the list, third on the board in putting at this event last year. I feel like he can do it again, an even better putter than he was then. I'm throwing $15 on Montgomery to finish inside the top 27, which he seemingly does every week right now.
Yeah, and you need the big clubs, and you need to be accurate because of how thick that rough is. Listen, I was in Southern California for 2 weeks. It rained every day. The grass is 3.5 inches in the rough, and that's going to lead me to my sell, which is Justin Thomas, 18th or worse, minus 120. I'm going to put 20% of my bankroll on that. He's like, how can you fade JT? JT had a press conference. I was reading the transcript this morning. So, he said that he skipped Torrey for a long time, that when he first played Torrey, that this – the course does not match what his game is. And so he kind of avoided it. Recently, he's finished 20th, 19th, and a missed cut here. And so he wants to get this back into the rotation of courses that he plays yearly. He has a career negative strokes gain, tee to green, off the tee, around the green at Torrey Pines. And if you look at his driving accuracy from the Century, 50%, he's going to find that 3.5-inch rough. And I'm going to bet him to finish 18th or worse.
If you're missing fairways at Kapalua, you need some help with your driving accuracy. Those fairways are the widest in the entire world, not just on the PGA Tour. Okay, I've seen a lot of people this week on Hideki Matsuyama, and the entire reason I've seen for it is, well, he's 40-1, and that's a pretty good number for a guy who's a really good player. Okay, I understand that, and I like chasing big numbers too, but Hideki has not finished inside the top 33 in 3 of his last 4, and I happen to pick top 33 because Bet365 has him at 33rd or worse this week. Look, it's just not happening right now for Hideki. I am not convinced that he is fully healthy. Still has that neck injury lingering from last year. I don't know what to make of him. I do know that on any given moment, he can start playing better golf again, but I am willing to put just a little, like 5% of my portfolio in Hideki not getting there this week and not figuring it out right now. All right, let's get to some props and matchups, Collin. I know you got some good ones. What you're looking at?
Well, it's funny is when I was asked to come on the Gimme last year, I think in my very first script, I was telling myself before the show, I was like, you can't really just come on and say there's going to be a playoff. Come on, you can't bet a playoff prop. And then it hit. So I am going back to the well. Don't do it very often. I'm going to say the winning margin is going to be 1 in a playoff plus 350. I'm going to put 5%, $5 down on this. And if you look at the history of the Farmers, there was a playoff in last year, 2018, 2015, 2012. How about a one-shot victory? I can rattle off 5 years since 2010 that has been a one-shot victory, with the exception of like a Patrick Reed and I think a Tiger's in there. This thing is always close. I mean, we've had 4 playoffs and 5 one-shots, so I'm going to go with a prop plus 350. The winner gets it in the playoff.
At least there's some research behind that. Look, I love analytics. I love stats. I have a producer at SiriusXM who every week will bet hole-in-one or no hole-in-one. This week, because of Xander's Albatross, he's betting on an Albatross happen. I said, look, we have all these analytics. We do all this studying, all this research. Why would I put my hard-earned money on whether a little ball like that goes into a hole from 250 yards away? I mean, there's no research. There's no analytics. There's nothing else that can show us like, yes, the ball's going in or no, it's not. I'm going to save my money and bet it on something that I know about. And I get what you're saying about playoff, but you showed some research there. You did your study. All right. I will get to my prop here, and it's a name that you probably don't know. Another rookie like Taylor Montgomery. He hasn't had as good of a season, but I'm going with Kevin Yu for a top 40. Former Arizona State player, got there just after John Rahm. And it's interesting that I say just after John Rahm because I mentioned strokes gained off the tee earlier in relation to Hayden Buckley. He's third. John Rahm this season is first. That makes sense. Number 2 on the list is Kevin Yu. Drives it really far, really straight. That helps a whole lot at Torrey Pines, especially this week with the thick rough, as you mentioned. And I'm not going overboard. A top 40 plus 187. I'm putting 15% of the portfolio on Kevin Yu this week.
Yeah, I like it. I'm going to go with a matchup in my last one, and you've already propped up Tony Finau. I'm taking Tony Finau minus 120 against Collin Morikawa, my second biggest bet on the show. 25% of my bankroll is going on this, and you've already propped up Finau, so I'm going to talk about Morikawa and Torrey South. is a monster. 7,700 plus yards. Morikawa is dead last in this field in driving accuracy right now. And he's only hitting it 275 yards in his last 6 in his recent form. Where has his power gone? He has been completely zapped with his driving distance. He's down 20 yards from his long-term form. So I'm not sure what's going on. And if your accuracy isn't good, you're going to end up in that thick rough like I talked about. Now, when you compare driving distance from Morikawa to Finau, right now it's about a 30-yard difference. So you have that advantage right there. And then when you look at who's better from the rough from 200 yards out, it's not even close. I mean, Finau's third, Morikawa is 62nd. I mean, there is a huge difference in who plays better in the rough. There's a huge difference in who's longer on the tee box. I'm taking Tony Finau minus 120 over Collin Morikawa.
I love that. And playing better from the thick rough. That's why Tony Finau is going to win a U.S. Open in California in about 5 months from now. Keep that in mind. File it away.
I hear it.
Just put it out there. All right, I've got a matchup as well. Davis Thompson was great last week. Love everything about Davis Thompson. He's hanging with Jon Rahm on the final day. He didn't pull the stick on 17. That ball, I firmly believe, was going into the hole from 50 feet away. Wound up losing by 1, but looked really good in the process. Congratulations, Davis. I'm betting against you this week. I am taking Wyndham Clark in a matchup, minus 110 over Davis Thompson, who's never seriously contended for a PGA Tour title before. I believe that there's going to be a little letdown period for Mr. Thompson this week. Wyndham Clark is a guy who does most of his damage with the driver. We've already talked about how important that is. And the putter, he led the field in strokes gained putting at Torrey Pines a year ago. I expect him to be right near the top again this week. 4 top 30s in his last 5 starts for Wyndham Clark. All right, let's get to FRLs. That stands for our favorite real long shot. First round leader bets. Love first round leader bets. Now, I've got to throw a little caveat here because depending on the book, they'll either put them all together and maybe the players on the North Course will have shorter odds than the players on the South Course. That's what Bet365 has done this week. Or your book might separate them and have 2 different wagering possibilities. So know what you're betting on before you start betting on first round leader. Go ahead. That said.
Yeah, and I think something that I heard on your Links and Locks podcast is like generally when you go to these tournaments, you want somebody with an early morning tee time. But remember, they're teeing off of 2 different courses. They're all going to tee off within 2 hours. But I did take Ryan Palmer, who has the very first tee time on the North Course, the easier course. His last 5 in the first round here at Torrey, 67, 66, 72, 67, 66. He likes playing at Torrey in the first round. He's been hot. He's been close to leaderboard. Hasn't exactly won it. He's come up a shot or 2 short, but it's definitely bettable. I'll do 5% of my bankroll on it at 70 to 1.
I really like that. I know you liked my guy. I might want to trade with you here, but maybe we can share our tickets. I will fully admit that I put in my pick before we found the tee times out. Our producers need to make the graphics. I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to get things done early. I went with Keegan Bradley. Keegan Bradley has never failed to break par in 11 opening rounds at Torrey Pines on either golf course. Well, Keegan Bradley was put on the South Course instead of the North to start. I was hoping he'd be on the North Course. That said, at Bet365, which has put all the players together in one field for first round leader, he is double his outright number. He is 110 to 1 for a first round lead. I get it, it's on the South Course, but I'll take a shot on 110 to 1 at Keegan Bradley, who, like I said, always breaks par in the opening round. Just 5%, a small one. All right, Collin, I don't know if you know this, but we started doing one and done picks here on the show, which the one and done pools have become bigger and bigger. I've been in one for 25 years now. And back when we first started, no one knew anything about what was going on in golf. I had a little advantage because I knew golf. Other people are just picking random players. Whoever came in second the year before, you couldn't pick the defending champs. So you just pick the guy that came in second. Now there are one and done pools everywhere. I get invited all the time to be in these. So we're doing it here on the show to help the people out. Where are you going with your one and done?
Yeah, my one and done was pretty easy because I have a golfer that has a clean track record here at Torrey Pines. He's healthy right now, and he's in good form after the Amex. He finished 11th in strokes gained tee to green, and that is Justin Rose. And with these one and done pools, you can save Rahm. I don't think it's a bad idea to take Rahm, like you said on the podcast. I don't think that's a bad idea considering the betting market. But at the same time, I don't know if Justin Rose is going to be in form if he's going to be healthy and if he's going to be available for the rest of the year. So I'm going to use Justin Rose now on a track that he's been on before, and I know that he's ready to go.
The more I've played these pools over the years, the more I think there's no burning a player. I think people are too worried about, I've got to save guys and I don't want to use guys up earlier in the year. If a guy is playing well and he's at a course that he likes, get after him. I'm not going for Rahm this week, but I am going for the guy that I always pick here. I talked about it earlier, Tony Finau. Again, he's going to win the U.S. Open this year, so I was kind of between saving him for that, but I don't want to save my players. I don't mind burning them. It's not a burn if he goes out and wins this golf tournament, which I think he has a great chance of doing. Recapping our portfolios for the show, Collin's got Jon Rahm and Siwoo Kim outrights. He's buying Xander, selling JT, a playoff prop, a Finau matchup, and Ryan Palmer first-round leader. I've got Finau and Hayden Buckley outrights, buying Taylor Montgomery, selling Hideki Matsuyama, a prop on Kevin Yu, a matchup with Wyndham Clark, and Keegan Bradley, first-round leader. Before we go, start doing this as well. One non-PGA Tour bet for this week to help all the people out, Collin.
We're going to bet on the Razorbacks to go over. They're going to go over 138.5 tonight in Bud Walton Arena against LSU.
What do you know about Arkansas hoops? Okay, I didn't say non-golf bet. I said non-PGA Tour bet. I'm looking over in Dubai. That starts Thursday. Give me Thomas Pieters. I want a long hitter in Dubai. Thomas Pieters about to bust out with a really good year. I think he makes the Ryder Cup as well. All right, for more bets on other sports besides golf, Green Dot Daily every single day at noon Eastern time on your favorite Action Network platform. Thanks to everybody out there for watching this episode of the Gimme. Remember, you can find all of our golf content at actionnetwork.com and the Action Network app. I'm Jason Sobel. He is, once again, making his triumphant return, Collin Wilson. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
For Collin Wilson, I'm Jason. Good luck with all your Farmers Insurance Open bets this week. Remember, Wednesday start. I told you before, Wednesday start. Here's hoping you guys hit the green.